go. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. Today we got the bike out, we're out in the surf. And I know you're thinking just another e-bike video on the beach, but today I promise you we're gonna catch some fish. The last time I came out and tried this, we just won't talk about what happened last time. It wasn't great. So this time I'm promising that I'm gonna go home with some fish. I'm not gonna post this video unless I catch some fish. So you will see some fish in today's video. I promise you that. And right now I'm just tying up a very simple Carolina rig. Probably the most old school, simple, easy to set up rig that you can imagine. So here's what we got. Braided main line on a little, I think this is an 8.6 rod, 3000 size reel, to a barrel swivel, a bead, or sorry, barrel sinker, a bead, then a barrel swivel, to my leader. And for a leader, I'm using this Ahi GT4 fluorocarbon that I've been using. Seems to be working quite well out here. Caught a few halibut on it. Now it's time to catch some surf, hopefully some surf perch on it, maybe a striped bass if we're lucky. And at the end, a little, I think that's a size 2 J-hook, octopus hook. And I brought a big bag of different grubs that I'm gonna use. But first, I'm gonna throw a couple of these guys out here. These are some live sand crabs. Make sure they don't fall out here. There they are. Just wrangled these up. In my opinion, if you have the time to catch them and if you can find them, these are some of the best baits out here for surf fishing, both for striped bass and for surf perch. So I'm gonna toss these in this little hole I have right behind me here, and we'll get the day started. My plan today is to cover a lot of water. So we're starting here, gonna work south, I don't know, for a long way until I can find some fish, essentially. Unless they're right here. If they're right here, maybe we'll stay here all day. And with the sand crabs, I like to keep it simple. Just hook it once through the top of the shell, just like that. People have different ways of hooking them. Whatever you think's best, but this is the way I do it. So anyway, let's toss this in here, see if we can find us fish. Really nice day today. Honestly, if I knew it was gonna be this nice out, probably would have just come out in board shorts and flip-flops, but I got the waders, so I had to bring them out. But anyway, make our first cast here. I can already see there's some junk in the water here, some seaweed. So this might be a short-lived mission at this spot. We might have to move on and find some clearer water. Definitely not, oh man, that's not good. I'm gonna move a little bit, about 15 feet to my right, make one more cast. If this same thing happens, then we gotta move on, because this is not fishable. Well, not quite as bad in this spot, but still not great. So let's move on, find us some cleaner water. I think we can fish it a little more effectively. One great thing about this bike is it has the fat tires, so it handles the sand super well. And when you come out on a day like today, it's pretty much low tide right now. If you can ride on the wet sand, not in the water, but where the sand is wet, not all dry and loose, it's a nice easy ride. And yeah, this bike's handling it quite well. Very pleased. Just cruising down the beach here. All right, spot number 2. This water looks a little bit cleaner. I think we won't have as much issue with seaweed in the water. But before we get to fishing, let me tell you a little bit more about this bike. This is the Haybike Mars 2. It's super portable and features a 48 volt 750 watt hub motor that propels you at super fast speeds, even on hills or in the wet sand. Full throttle, and even on the sand, we're hitting 21, 20. I think 21 was our top speed, but it's cruising right at 20 miles an hour right now. Easy. Effortless speed with this bike. We're gonna get to the next hole in no time. With a 45-mile range, the 600 watt-hour external removable lithium-ion battery is super portable and can be removed for easier transport. The feature of this bike is it has a horn. I don't think any of the other bikes that I've used have had this feature, so let's test it out. Oh, geez, that's loud. Alright. If I need to notify the entire beach that I've caught a monster fish, this is the sound you'll hear. Alright, we won't do that again for a while. Not only that, there's a smart app that tracks and analyzes your ride in detail with automatic synchronization. Furthermore, it provides a more personalized biking experience. And I took this bike out to my local trail by my house just for a little test drive yesterday, and it handled extremely nicely. Really comfortable seat, very nice ride. And if you want to get a little discount for one for yourself, check the link in the description. I'll also have a promo code to get yourself $100 off. Thank you again to Hey Bike for sponsoring this video. Let's go catch some fish. So I just fished this spot for about 5-10 minutes, which doesn't seem like a lot of time, but when you toss a sand crab in there and it doesn't get bit for the first couple casts, especially when you're fishing for surf perch, you know, if they're there, they're gonna hit it right away. So no bites. Let's move on to spot number 3. I'm gonna make a little bit bigger move now. Spot 1 to 2 wasn't that big of a move, but I'm gonna make a little bit bigger move because I just feel like we need to find some fish, and where we were fishing wasn't working. So we'll see you down the beach a little ways. Well, I wish I had the drone to show you a better view, but you'll just have to kind of take my word for it. Maybe you can tell by the GoPro footage, but there's some nice structure right here. There's a nice sandbar and a good little trough in close. So this would be a great area during high tide. Unfortunately, the tide is too low, so this trough in close here is just too shallow. Fish won't hang out in there. And this is why I always say, if you fish the surf consistently, you really increase your chance of catching, because you can kind of keep track of where holes like this are. And if you see this at a low tide like we're at right now, you can come back at a high tide and fish this very effectively. I almost guarantee you that there would be fish in here during a high tide, but unfortunately that's not going to happen for another like 12 hours or something like that. So probably not today, but if this ends up being a multi-day mission, I might come back to this spot. So keep this in your memory bank, but for now we'll just have to keep moving, find us some deeper water. So we're kind of racing against the time here. I've passed a lot of good structure, but unfortunately a lot of it would be better fished at high tide, and unfortunately the tide is going out right now, so kind of bad timing on my part. But I did find a little hole here. There's definitely enough water in this little spot where if there's a fish around, it could definitely be hanging out in here. So we'll cast around here. Maybe I'll try the sand crab a couple times. If no luck, maybe I'll switch over to some grubs just to try something a little different, maybe give them a different look. Another 10-15 minutes has gone by without even a nibble. So sticking with the theme, we'll move on to the next one. How's it going?
What's up, dude?
Not much, how about you?
I'm just like, you know what, I bet you asked that guy Adam. How are you?
Not bad, how about you?
My name's James. I
James.
watch all your shows, man.
Thank you.
All of them, all of them.
Any luck? Alright, I just passed one angler who said he's caught a few, so I don't know what that means. No idea if they're big or small, but at least it's a fish. That's the first person I talked to that's caught fish. I talked to about 3 or 4 other guys that all had nothing. So I'll let that guy fish that spot. He was fishing a juicy hole, but I don't want to crowd him. But the next spot I find that looks good, we're gonna stop and fish. Also, I'm seeing a lot more sandpipers out here, which probably means more sand crabs, which could also be why there's a few more fish here, more stuff for them to eat. But coming up on a good hole right here. Hopefully this is the one. It's definitely been a long time since I fished this area. This is a long way to walk. Time to start trying some grubs. So I picked out a few here that I'm gonna start with. I'm gonna start with this one. Oh, first cast with the grub. All right, this might be the ticket. I did notice that when I had the sand crab on, they were hitting it when it was moving. So I was thinking maybe tying a grub on, since that'll move, would be the ticket. And I don't know if that's what did it, but whatever it was, it worked. That's not a bad fish. Almost big enough to keep, but I think I'm gonna let this one go. Man, that is tempting. But first one, we'll let him go. That's a male. But honestly, that's the biggest surf perch I've caught in a long time. So we'll gladly take him, but we'll just let him go. Hopefully a good omen for a later catch. There he goes. And I'll show you the grub that I just got it on. That's a pumpkin seed grub right there with a paddle tail. And when I was a kid, we used to use this almost exclusively. Throw this thing for hours, and I caught many a surf perch on this exact setup right here. This is a throwback to the olden days. Let's see if we can find some more, maybe one a little bit bigger. There we go. Wow, really small. How did this guy even manage to get hooked? I hooked him in the mouth. Legal catch. So that is a baby. There we go. Oh no, it came off. Oh, that was a good one. Oh man, that one felt a little bigger. All right, get back in there. Oh man, that burns. There we go. Yes. Oh no, again. Oh man, that one felt even bigger than the last one. There we go. Here's a fish. That feels like a decent one. I don't think it's as big as the last one that came off, unfortunately, but this one feels like a little bit bigger. Maybe a keeper. Maybe. But first I gotta get it to the shore. Stay on there. Stay on there. Oh yeah, we're gonna keep this one. All right. Still not huge, but it's right on like the small end of the fish that I like to keep. So I haven't eaten perch in a long time. I think I'm due a nice eater. All right, there it is. Probably about a 12 incher, we'll say. Not huge, but he's gonna fry up good. Or should I say, she is gonna fry up good. It's a female. This is the grub that I got it on this time. I switched up to this one. I just felt like they were getting too used to the pumpkin seed. So this is more of a motor oil red flake color, kind of greenish with those red sparkles. This is also a very classic color. Anyway, we'll get back in there. There we go. There's another one. Feels like a decent one. Come on in. Nice and easy. Yep. There it is. Again, not huge, but he'll fry up. A little bit bigger. Maybe a ½ inch bigger. Going in the bag. One tip I will say when we're working these grubs is I like to just vary up your retrieval speeds. Just really got to figure out what's working, because some days, honestly, some days you can just let it sit out there and they'll hit it. But today's not one of those days. Today I feel like they're liking it a little bit faster, giving it some good pops, not just like a steady retrieve. It's like a pop and then steady, pop and then steady. I'm really trying to get that grub to really flick in the water. I don't want it to just casually swim. I want it to like pop up and down every once in a while. I feel like whatever that motion is really attracting those fish in and triggering them to strike. But like I said, not every day is the same, so really important to just not do the same thing over and over and over again. Just like any other fishing, you always want to keep changing it up. Oh, there we go. There's a fish. Right on cue. Seems like we're into a decent school of them, and it seems like we figured out what baits they want now. Yeah, another one, cookie cutter. Again, he'll fry up well. You can see that grub right in there. He wanted that thing. When you're on them like we are right now, get back in there as quickly as possible, because a lot of times, I mean, like you saw this morning, we covered a lot of water and I literally didn't even get a single bite until I pulled up to this spot. But now that we found them, you know, there obviously is a good concentration of them right here. We're just gonna keep casting in there, try and repeat the same thing that we did for the last fish, and if we can do it right, there's a good chance we'll find another one. There we go, there's another one. Okay, stay on there. So when you're bringing in the fish, these perch are a little bit smaller, so it's not super important, but if you got a bigger one on, it's super important. You don't want to fight against the wave, you just want to pull it in with the wave. And that one felt a little bit bigger than it was, but this is tempting. I might have to... Oh wow, look at this guy's mouth. How did I even hook this one? And he's seen some stuff. Maybe got hooked before. Should I let him go? You know what, we'll let him go. He's been through some stuff. Let's give him another chance at life. Oh, that way. Alright, there he goes. It's the beauty of catching a few, and I can release a few without going hungry. Holy cow. There's some whales right outside the break here. Super shallow. You don't often see whales in that shallow. So if you're a crab trapper and you want to use your crab traps, I wouldn't hold your breath. Oh, there's a fish. Seems like the whales are in, so when the whales are in, that's when we're restricted to hoop nets for Dungeness crab, any kind of crab. But it doesn't have any effect on the surf fishing, luckily. And right when we saw a whale, we saw a fish. Not huge, but she'll fry up nicely. Come on down. So I switched back to the pumpkin seed for a little bit, cast it around a few times, and it wasn't getting hit. And then I just switched back to this motor oil color, and I think that was either my first or my second cast, and it got bumped. So, oh man, he choked it. I think we have no choice but to keep this one. Look at that. Choked it. I don't know, you can't even see the bait in there. But anyways, what I was saying is, it seems like this motor oil color is working better, so we're gonna stick with this one for the time being. She'll fry up well. Yep. Seems like there's two grades of fish out there. There's these kind that are like, you know, 4 inches, and then there's the next size up, which is the ones that we've been keeping that are maybe 12 inches. Skein them in. We're skein them in. Yeah, that's a little bit on the small side. I'll let this one go. Nice fish. We'll let this one go. Quick release. No, we're gonna let this one go. Now I mentioned keeper. technically there's no size limit for these barred surf perch here in California, but I don't really like to keep them if they're this size or smaller. I just feel like it's not worth all the effort to take care of them for the amount of meat that you get. So I like to keep them, you know, 12 inches and up, I would say, somewhere in that range. Alright, my time has come. It's about 2 o'clock now. Gotta start heading back. Gotta get back. Supposed to be back to the car by 3, but I think with this bite, as long as I get out of here in the next 10 minutes, I should be able to make it back in no time. But anyway, successful day out here. Glad I was finally able to get on a few surf perch. Got a nice little bag full. I kept 5, released probably a dozen, maybe more. And yeah, happy I finally caught some fish. I'll show you what worked today actually. So I tried sand crab. I had a couple bites on that, but it wasn't working well for me. So I switched over some grubs. I caught a few on a pumpkin seed, but the one that was really getting it done today was this one. Let's see if I can get this camera to focus in. I don't know if the camera is gonna focus in on that, but anyways, that is a motor oil red flake little grub with the paddle tail. I really like the paddle tails out here in the surf. It seems like they work a little bit better than those curly tail grubs, in my humble opinion. And I've had these in my bag for a long time. I think I bought these for a video a while back and never got around to using them. So glad I could finally put some fish on them. I think I can safely say that I would not have had as successful of a day if it wasn't for this bite. So I'll definitely be bringing out to the surf some more. I think the striped bass fishing should start getting good here in the next couple months. I've heard some rumors of some fish getting caught already, so maybe I'll have to head out and test the water soon. But until then, another day in the books. Thank y'all for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Make sure I don't crash on the way back.